Good morning.
Hello!
Welcome back to Coffee and Cocktails
TV.
TV.
So I'm Victoria.
And I'm Gemma. Just thinking, could you imagine our own TV channel? Sorry.
That's what we're having.
It's true. But like on
telly.
On telly.
On Netflix.
Oh,
Life goals.
life goals.
Watch. Keep an eye on Netflix. Coming
Just
soon.
another one to add to the list.
Yeah. After the book.
What? And everything
Books.
else.
Sorry, the books. And yeah, we don't like to think small.
No.
So today we're talking about how to keep going when you feel like giving up, because honestly, I think you will always go through cycles of wanting to give up when you're an entrepreneur.
To be fair, I think I have them quite regularly. It's almost like my monthly cycle. But maybe not quite monthly, but it is it's almost like, so consistent. It is something that I go through. It is. I just think that, it's almost if you look at it as a bigger picture, it's almost your mind and your body's way of making sure that this is the path.
Yes.
That you're on.
I think so. So I read a book, which we will put the link in the comments.
But she can't remember.
It's Stephen Pressfield, I think. Something like that. Sorry. But I will link to it. I can't remember. But it's about it's The War of Art, I think.
Okay.
But he talks very much around resistance and how the closer we're getting to that thing that we want, the resistance, it's like almost like a war inside us, because it wants to keep us safe. So sometimes when we're getting quite close, and a bit like if you're having a fight, then closer towards the end of the fight, like some people like pull it out of the bag and they'll fight harder because they can see you getting to the end. So as you're getting closer and closer to your goal, resistance is going to fight even harder to stop you going through. And it's all very subconscious, but there is something in it. Like it's almost like we're our own worst enemy, and we self-sabotage a lot.
Yeah.
Because of the fear and the everything else, the unknown and stuff like that. And it is so much safer just to stay exactly where you are right now.
And it's obviously reaching your final goal can change so much. It can change how you position yourself in life, just loads of things really. Say your goal was to have a successful e-commerce site or to make money from your blog, and say previous to that you were a stay-at-home mum who had no access to her own money. Having that financial freedom, it can open so many different doors. Obviously you imagine it's going to be amazing, but ultimately it will affect your current relationship, the balance of how things are. It might even go on to create even bigger new goals. I want the bigger house, I want more holidays, I want to take this business to the next level. I just think there's so much fear, isn't there?
That's my fault. It's on airplane mode, but that's Headspace telling me something.
Take time.
Take time. And yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and also on another side of that, another aspect is that I'm definitely fall into this category, is that I forget to take time out for me or to relax. And so I'll start the month and I'll think, right, I'm going to exercise this many times a week, I'm going to meditate this many times, I'm going to make sure that I make time to have so many coffee dates with my friends and my family. And by the end of the month, I'm working from 7 in the morning to 11 at night. You're not eating properly, you haven't seen anybody, you've got kids' homework coming out of your ear holes. It's like it's just life, isn't it? And it's really, especially if you get excited about a project or you just get caught up in it all. And I just think it's you just feel like giving up, don't you? Because you reach almost like a breaking point when you just think, I can't do this anymore.
No.
But it's actually because you're not doing it in a healthy, constructive way that you've lost track of life. Like you're working to live. Yeah. Not living.
So I think, like you saying that, there's actually a few different reasons why you might feel like giving up in the entrepreneur, which is probably why it comes around on a regularly basis. Because there's the feeling that what you're doing isn't working and you don't really know what else to do. So sometimes you feel like giving up then. There's feeling like giving up because you're working like every hour and you're at breaking point.
You're exhausted, aren't you?
Yeah, and then there's feeling like giving up because of fear, but you don't recognise it's fear. It's just, you come a bit like we said in the previous video, like it's almost like valid reasons. It feels like valid
Yeah.
reasons, but they're actually, it's just it's fear masquerading as
Oh,
those.
there was so
Yeah,
so
so
many
there's loads of
reasons.
reasons why you might give up, and also, well, yeah, loads, isn't
Yeah.
there? But
So,
no, you carry on.
okay.
No, you carry on.
So obviously, to get through them, and obviously this video was giving you ways on how to
Yes.
get through
Good
them.
fallback. Thank you.
I would say that I think it's almost taken time to take stock, isn't it? So it's
Yes.
to sit down, even if you clear your diary, clear your desk, even if it's for an hour, if that's literally all you can muster up, or ideally a day, it's just to sit down and almost reevaluate. I love to do a big brain map, brain dump, and then all of a sudden everything seems so much clearer again, and I remember why I'm doing this. I dig out all my list. I love lists. I list for my lists, and I sort of get myself back into a routine with set. I to be fair, I work really well with the wake up at this time, do this, set time for homework, set working hours, knowing that this is when everything's going to happen, and it's literally making time for every aspect of your life, and especially if it's important to you, is to schedule it in and to make sure that you're consistent with it. But I just love a brain map. I just love.
Yeah. So taking stock of, I think what you said about really taking some time to connect with the why again, because again you get so on the treadmill and the doing that you forget why, and I see this a lot with the ladies that I work with. You get so consumed with the working and the more and the building of the business, and actually, and sometimes you make decisions that take you off in a different direction because you're so living day by day, and you're forgetting why you started, and actually you might make business decisions. So for me, I wanted to open a shop, and I've seen mums that I work with might want to open a shop, and I try and remind them that is not going to give them the life that they originally wanted, which is time with their family, because the shop's so it's remembering that as well. And it's so easy to go down these little pathways forgetting our why,
and then once you're on that path,
and then that's why you probably feel like giving up, because it's all too much and it's not giving
we are
you
one person, ladies. We can only
one person. Let's remember that for a minute. Let's just focus on that we are not superhuman, and we're trying all the things you just listed off, especially when you've got school age kids, the homework. I heard Oliver in tears this morning trying to get him to practice his spellings. It is, but you're doing that. My day started in quite a traumatic way with my two kids.
It's emotionally traumatic. So sometimes I can get in the car after the school run, and I do just need 3 minutes to catch my breath.
Well, I was thinking I'm just going to ask Jeremy if I can sit and meditate for 10 minutes before we do anything, but I think I'd come round by the time I got here.
Crystal healing.
But we are one person, so it's about and looking after yourself, because you're going to want to give up.
So I find I can always tell when I'm not eating properly, or I'm not making time, even for me, just to sit and enjoy a coffee, or to go for an afternoon walk with the dog, to do a bit of exercise. If you're sacrificing that time, life becomes unattainable. It's just you almost see it as a privilege, don't you? Or you're being selfish, but actually you're not. It gives you time to focus.
It does.
And
it's so important forward. To have that time. Because if you're running your business on that autopilot that we tend to get on, then you just end up making all the wrong decisions and just And then if things aren't just a word, if things aren't working for you as well, and I think the problem again nowadays is we're so aware of all these success stories that are smoke and mirrors, like you said, people that look like they're doing really well, and because you see all these people, perhaps it's someone that started after you, but they're doing really, really well, and then you think, oh well, I'm not doing as well as that, so I must be some failure, and then that makes you want to give up, and it's not, because you're judging your real against their highlights, and actually they're positioning themselves to look like they might be doing well, and you don't know. So I think sometimes we expect it now. I think
we're very impatient.
Really impatient. And so take that time pressure off you, and just know that just keep doing the work, and know that if you keep doing step after step, you will get there. It's not a massive rush, and to learn to enjoy the journey. It's not about
and some of the overnight success stories that you see, they've had 6 businesses before. They have learned so many skills. They know a lot of people. They've really researched this new venue avenue they're going down. But so as much as this maybe new venture is an overnight success,
Yeah.
You don't know everything else that's gone on behind and before that.
No.
But it's focusing on you and not
connecting
on
with really what's
and I would
inside.
say that if you really are struggling and take time to talk, to connect with real people, to sit down, whether it's a business talk, like to sit and go over your plans, to get some excitement back into it, or even just to spill, just to let it all out and have a chat with someone over a coffee.
But I remember chatting to a lady who I massively respect, and she is this massive success, and we had lunch together, and we were chatting, and she said how she was struggling that month because she'd taken her eye off the ball and she'd done other stuff, and I remember feeling like that was the best thing she could ever have told me, like, because you know that even those people, like, you just keep going. It's just part of it, isn't it? That you're going to have ups and downs, and it is. And if you're starting when you're new, you have to give it some time. Like, you have to give it some time.
And sometimes, like, we all feel this rush, don't we, that we need to be doing so much. And sometimes maybe you need to slow it down. Say you are still working, you do have a family at home to look after and a house to look after, and you're trying to start a new business. That there is no rush. It doesn't have to happen overnight. You need to pace yourself, and you might have reached the point of wanting to give up because you've just burnt out. You've just almost given everything you've got. I think we are very impatient, aren't we? And especially with social media and all these overnight success stories, and
you just end up judging yourself against things that aren't actually real. I was going to say something, but I've totally forgotten. It was really good as well.
It was a really good point.
I think that's so. Really, just keep going. If you never give up, then you will get there. But just keep. Also, I mean, saying that, if you're doing something like, so don't give up on your dream is what we're saying as well. Like, if you're doing something, don't be afraid to tweak it slightly.
Yeah, and don't be afraid to. It's almost as well. If it's a business that's not working, there is that point of knowing when is the time to walk away. But obviously, it depends on your reasons.
Reasons
for wanting to give up.
But don't give up on the dream, because, like, even if you do something and it doesn't work out, I hear other people worried about starting something new because that didn't work out. Well, you will have learnt so much more from that venture that didn't work out that you can then, like you said, put into your next one. And I think that's what this video is about. It's just about not giving up on the dream. But sometimes there are, like, business activities that you might want to, like, let go of, and that's okay. So I think that.
Oh, you haven't mentioned your butterfly.
Oh, but my favourite quote is, "The minute the caterpillar thinks his life is over, he turns into a beautiful butterfly." And that's sort of like, if you're thinking of giving up, you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow or next week, and if you keep going, you don't know when suddenly those wings will spread and that you're going to fly off and be this amazing success. But if you give up now, you'll never know. So just keep going, just one more day, one more week, and just take each day and week as it comes. And because it can, I know it feels relentless at times, doesn't it? Like, it can feel like you wake up and think, what am I doing? But it will pay off if you keep going.
It will. But just remember, I think sometimes it's just bringing it back a bit, isn't it? And you say, remembering your why.
That's what I was going to say. I was going to say that often I have to give myself a talking to, because all the pressure that's on my shoulders is from me. So, like Gemma was saying, you set yourself these, like, you're doing it all so quickly, but all of those timescales we set ourselves are quite often in our own head and are applied by us.
Yeah.
And actually
and they're insane, half of them.
Half of them are insane. I mean, they are. And like you say, and then the kids might get ill, and you're not leaving yourself any wiggle room. And it's far better that it takes a little bit longer and you enjoy the journey and the process of it than just, like, just burning yourself out over and over again, which I have done.
Me too.
But it's no fun.
No, it's not.
So if that's what if you feel that you can't continue at that pace, then just take the foot off a little bit and try and enjoy it a little bit.
And remember that you can always come and chat to us.
Come and chat to us.
Facebook, we've got a little group. Private messages. We love to chat.
We do love to chat, as you can tell. Anyway, have a great day. Thank you for tuning in. We'll speak to you soon. Bye.